everyone, welcome to Live Interactive English. I am Karen.
And I'm Matt. And today we're looking at part 2 of our story, The Monkey's Paw.
That's right. And in part 1, we know that this monkey's paw has magic, right?
Yeah, it has magic to grant 3 wishes to 3 people.
So, let me ask you, if you could have a wish, what would you wish for?
Ooh, I would wish for just unlimited money. So I'd have like a bank account that just never goes down. I can always have money,
But
never run out of money.
What would you do with all that money, though?
What wouldn't I do, Karen? I could travel everywhere in the world and stay in the nicest hotels and just do everything I want to do, eat the nicest food, just have all my time to myself, do whatever I want. So, what would you do if you had a wish?
Well, I would wish for
money,
good
right?
health. And I hope that, we can end the problem of, world hunger and no one suffers in this world and everyone lives in peace, no more war. World peace, Matt.
World peace?
That's the bigger picture.
Yeah, but...
Right?
Well, but if no one's suffering and everyone's doing fine, then how will I know that
that would be such a wonderful world,
how
right?
will I know how good I'm doing?
Matt! Okay, don't be like Matt. Bad example.
Well, but anyway, unlimited money. I could give money to other people sometimes.
That's true, but you also
Sometimes,
have to have good health, though, right?
That's
or
true.
Or else, if you're sick and you have so much money, you can't really do anything, right?
Well, we had 3 wishes, so good money, good health, and.
Okay, you have time to think about the third one. Okay, but let's go into today's story and find out what Mr. White wishes for.
After Morris had left, Herbert suggested that they wish for 200 pounds. Mr. White raised the paw in his right hand and made the wish, but dropped it when he felt it twist in his hand. Nothing else happened, so they went to bed. The following morning, Herbert headed off to work, and Mr. and Mrs. White went about their business. Before lunch, a man arrived at their door with some terrible news. Herbert had died in an accident at work. The man offered his sympathy and then informed them they would receive 200 pounds as compensation.
So we're looking at part 2 of our story, The Monkey's Paw. And I think this is getting quite exciting now, right?
It is getting exciting. I think, Mr. White wants to wish for some things, and I think we're going to find out very soon what he's going to wish for.
That's right. And I think he said that he's going to wish for some sensible things, right? So nothing too crazy. Okay. Well, let's continue.
So after Morris had left, Herbert suggested that they wish for 200 pounds. 200 pounds. So in this case, we're not talking about pounds. Pounds means money.
That's right.
So another meaning for pounds might be weight, but I don't think he's guessing to gain 200 pounds and get very fat. In this case, he's talking about 200 pounds, which is the money that is used in the UK.
That's right.
Mr. White raised the paw in his right hand and made the wish, but dropped it when he felt it twist in his hand. Nothing else happened, so they went to bed.
So maybe it doesn't work. Maybe this monkey's paw thing is not true, right?
That's right. He didn't get that 200 pounds, which was a sensible amount of money. He didn't ask for endless money or 1,000,000 pounds. He only asked for 200 pounds.
Exactly. And he felt a twist in his hand. So twist is a verb. To twist basically is just like to bend or to turn so the shape would change. So in our example sentence, it says, Marcy twisted around to ask the person behind her to stop kicking her seat. So she's like turning her body to tell the person behind her to stop kicking her seat. Oh, I really hate it when that happens.
That's very annoying on an airplane or a movie theater. You need to twist around and tell them, stop it.
Exactly. Okay, let's continue. So the following morning, Herbert headed off to work. So Herbert is the son of Mr. White, right? And Mr. and Mrs. White went about their business. So when you say went about their business, just basically means doing their own thing, what they do every single day. And before lunch, a man arrived at their door with some terrible news.
Terrible news?
I don't like terrible news. Herbert had died in an accident at work. That is horrible.
That is horrible, terrible news for them to get. Especially when they thought they just made this wish, they're expecting good news, and then they get this terrible news.
That's right. So Herbert died in an accident at work. Oh no. So accident basically just means something that just happens. It wasn't, there was nobody intended for it to happen. Nobody killed him, but it just happened. Maybe like he would be in a car accident, or maybe he would fall off a building. That would be an accident too.
Those things can happen. So the man offered his sympathy and then informed them they would receive 200 pounds as compensation.
So that's the 200 pounds that they wished for.
So the wish came true. The monkey's paw works.
But Herbert died.
Oh, right.
That is horrible, and that is terrible. That means really, really, really bad.
But at least we know the monkey's paw works. So the man offered his sympathy. Sympathy means to have a feeling of sadness for someone else. So to have sympathy for someone, to offer your sympathy, means that show that you are sad for their sadness.
That's right.
So if someone said, I have no sympathy for her because I think the whole mess is her fault. So in this case, this person has no sympathy, doesn't feel sad at all because it's her fault anyway. So she did it. I don't feel sad for her.
That's right. It's like, I don't feel bad for you at all, right? And inform is our next vocabulary word, and that is a verb. To inform somebody basically just means to give information to someone. So in our example sentence, it says the police officer informed the suspect of his rights. So he was giving information to the suspect, telling him, okay, these are your rights. You have to understand your rights. Okay, well, that is horrible. This monkey's paw is bad news.
Well, at least we know it works, so that he still has 2 more wishes he can make.
That's true. And then he did get his 200 pounds, right?
They did get the 200 pounds, but money can't buy a new Herbert.
Exactly. So I wonder what's going to happen next. But right now, it's time for our break.
Okay, see you after the break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们在前一天的课文读到 ，Mr. White 恳求 Morris 把猴掌给他。那么 Morris 最后有同意，可是条件是这家人只能许愿合理的事物。Morris 离开之后，这个 Herbert 也就是 Mr. White 跟 Mrs. White 的儿子，就建议说，他们可以许愿得到200英镑啊。那么 Mr. White 他就用右手把猴掌举起来许愿，当他感觉到那个猴掌在手里面扭动的时候，他就把它放掉了。结果呢，什么事也没发生啊，然后他们就去上床睡觉了。Matt 老师认为这家人他们许愿200英镑算是明智的愿望，他们没有要求要得到无止境的钱。好，老师这时候他用到 endless， 就是在 end 后面加上 less， 变成这个形容词 endless， 就表示无止境的或是无休止的。好，那隔天早上 Herbert 去上班 ，White 夫妇就做着他们的事情嘛。结果有一名男子带着可怕的消息来到 White 他们家，就说儿子 Herbert 在工作中死于一场意外。那他就有致上慰问，并告知 White 夫妇说，他们将会收到200英镑来作为补偿金。200英镑不就是他们许愿的那个钱吗？好，那我们来看单字 twist 这个动词，它表示扭动啊、转动、旋转，也有盘绕的意思。那么 sympathy 它表示慰问、吊唁或者是同情、同情心，那是个名词。当我们说 offer one's sympathy 就表示慰问、吊慰。好，再来 inform 这个动词呢，它有通知、告知的意思。 好，再来文中他用到 go about one's business， 这表示说继续去做某人平常会做或是该做的事，也就是继续从事日常的事物。那我们用 go about 后面可以接名词或动名词去表达一如往常的进行什么什么，或者是开始处理什么什么。这边2个重点，我们要进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 suggest， 它是及物动词，也就是后面要加受词哦。那它是表达建议、提议。那有以下2种常见的用法。第一种呢，我们用 suggest 后面可以接名词或动名词，例如 He suggested taking a walk after dinner， 或者是 He suggested a walk after dinner。他提议吃完晚餐后去散步。那第2个用法，我们可以在 suggest 后面接 that 子句。那注意 that 子句的结构是 that 主词加上 should 加上原形动词，或者是 that 主词加上原形动词。例如 My friend suggested that we should book a table in advance， 或者是 My friend suggested that we book a table in advance。我的朋友建议我们先定位。那第2重点是感官动词，它是指看、听、闻、感觉之类的动词。常见的感官动词就有 see、watch、look at、listen to、hear、smell、feel 等等。我们以下介绍2种用法。第一种呢，你可以用感官动词加受词加上原形动词去强调事实或者是过程。例如 Carol watched her son play soccer。Carol 看他的儿子踢足球。那第2个用法，我们可以用感官动词加受词加上现在分词 VING， 那这是强调动作正在进行。例如 He felt something moving in the dark， 他感觉到黑暗中有东西正在移动，正在动这样子。好，那我们接着回到课文中。
Days after Herbert's funeral, Mrs. White suddenly remembered the monkey's paw and asked her husband to use his second wish to bring their son back to life. Mr. White refused, but she forced him to make the wish. Soon they heard knocking at the door. It dawned on Mr. White that it had to be his son, or at least whatever was left of him. Terrified, he grabbed the monkey's paw, and while his wife was struggling to open the door, he made his final wish. The urgent knocking stopped. They opened the door, but there was no one outside.
Welcome back. So before the break, we learned that Mr. White wished for 200 pounds. So he wished for money, and he didn't get the money right away, but the next day, he found out that his son had died in a work accident, and that because his son, Herbert, had died, he was given 200 pounds in compensation. So the wish came true, but his son, Herbert, had died.
Exactly. He lost something really, really precious to him, right? Okay, so I think this monkey's paw is not good news, but let's continue. So days after Herbert's funeral, Mrs. White suddenly remembered the monkey's paw and asked her husband to use his second wish to bring their son back to life. Maybe that would be possible, right? I mean, 3 wishes. So he wished for 200 pounds. That was the first wish, right?
So he still has 2 more wishes. So
exactly.
If you wish the son back to life, then everything's fixed. No problem.
Yeah, then maybe everything will be back to normal, or
maybe
not. I don't know. So we have this vocabulary word here, funeral, and that is a noun. So funeral is a ceremony that is held for a dead person. When someone passes away, we would hold a funeral for that person, and everyone, the close friends, family would get together, and then, you know, you would remember and talk about the things that you remember about this person. So for example, Mr. Burns' funeral will be held on Sunday. So all his family and friends will all come together and say goodbye.
So our story continues. Mr. White refused, but she forced him to make the wish. So she made him. He didn't want to, and she forced him to. So she made him make that wish. Soon they heard knocking at the door.
Knock, knock.
It dawned on Mr. White that it had to be his son, or at least whatever was left of him.
So when he says something, it dawned on him. That means like he suddenly realized or came to understand something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and now terrified, he grabbed the monkey's paw, and while his wife was struggling to open the door, he made his final wish. So while his wife was struggling to open the door, struggle is like having difficulty. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna open it, or maybe I'm not gonna open it.
She's nervous, so she's just trying to open it.
Having trouble doing this, right? So he made his final wish. Now, the urgent knocking, knock, 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 stopped. They opened the door, but there was no one outside. So what do you think, Matt?
I don't know. Well, I mean, what did he wish for then? He wished for the magic to go away?
Do you think so? I really don't know.
Okay, well, what we do know is that the urgent knocking stopped. So urgent means something that needs action or immediate attention. So in this case, an urgent knocking would be very loud, very consistent, not stopping knocking. You know that you need to get to it. You need to do something about it right away.
That's right.
So, I knew from Pam's urgent voice that something was wrong, so I immediately called for an ambulance. So he could hear in her voice, or I could hear in her voice, that something needed to be done right away, and that's why I immediately called an ambulance.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have this what do you think question. So like this monkey's paw, I really don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing anymore.
So what do you think, Karen? If you had a magical monkey's paw, what would you do with it?
I don't know. I think the moral of the story is kind of like be careful of what you wish for, because the things that you wish for, you might have to pay a really, really high price for it, right? So, like he wished for 200 pounds, but then he lost his son. So I wouldn't want that. If I want to wish for something, I don't want to lose something that is so precious to me. So if I had the monkey's paw, I probably wouldn't want to wish for anything. I would probably just burn it. How about you, Matt?
Well, I think I'd wish for unlimited money.
But you might lose something. Something really, really precious to you, though.
But I could just, buy a new one.
Buy a new one.
Buy a new whatever I've lost because I have unlimited money.
Buy a new son. Herbert is Mr. White's son.
Maybe unlimited monkey paws, so I can just make unlimited wishes.
Hey, you're a little bit greedy, aren't you? Okay, but how about you guys? What would you do with the monkey's paw? Would you keep it and make your wishes, or would you throw it away? Well, let us know. But this is all the time we have for today, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
好，就在 Herbert 的葬礼过后几天 ，Mrs. White 突然想到可以用猴掌让儿子起死回生。那么 Mr. White 听了就拒绝啦，可是太太强迫他许下这个愿望。不久后呢，他们就听到敲门声。Mr. White 突然意识到，那一定是他儿子吧，或者是说至少是儿子的残骸。然后他的太太呢就挣扎着要把这个门打开。这时候 Mr. White 惊恐的抓起猴掌，然后许下最后一个愿望。接着这个急迫的敲门声，这个嘣嘣嘣嘣嘣就突然停止了。他们打开门，发现外面空无一人。我们来看看单字 funeral，funeral 就是葬礼或是丧礼。那么 urgent 它是形容急迫的、紧急的。那补充一下，老师们在聊到用猴掌来许愿时 ，Matt 老师开玩笑说他要许愿得到无限的猴掌，这样就会有无限的愿望了。好，老师用到 unlimited 就是形容无限的或是无数的。好，这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是 dawn on， 它是指说开始明白、意识到什么什么。那我们要表达说某人开始明白啊，突然意识到某事，这时候你可以用到的句型是 something dawns on somebody。或者是呢，你可以用 it dawns on somebody 加上 that 子句，这时候呢，我们就是用虚主词 it 来代替 that 子句的位置。好，举例来说 ，It suddenly dawned on her that she hadn't eaten all day。她突然意识到自己一整天都没吃东西耶。 好，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
After Morris had left, Herbert suggested that they wish for 200 pounds. Mr. White raised the paw in his right hand and made the wish, but dropped it when he felt it twist in his hand. Nothing else happened, so they went to bed. The following morning, Herbert headed off to work, and Mr. and Mrs. White went about their business. Before lunch, a man arrived at their door with some terrible news. Herbert had died in an accident at work. The man offered his sympathy and then informed them they would receive 200 pounds as compensation. Days after Herbert's funeral, Mrs. White suddenly remembered the monkey's paw and asked her husband to use his second wish to bring their son back to life. Mr. White refused, but she forced him to make the wish. Soon they heard knocking at the door. It dawned on Mr. White that it had to be his son, or at least whatever was left of him. Terrified, he grabbed the monkey's paw, and while his wife was struggling to open the door, he made his final wish. The urgent knocking stopped. They opened the door, but there was no one outside.
A visit to Taichung is not complete without checking out Fengjia Night Market. Located in Shitun District, Fengjia Night Market is the largest and most renowned tourist night market in central Taiwan. It covers Wenhua Road, Fuxing Road, and Fengjia Road. Apart from gourmet and creative snacks, there are various specialty shops in this district, as it is near Fengjia and Xiaoguang school districts. Many apparel shops, beauty shops, and electronic shops can be found here. So, when you come to Fengjia Night Market, you can not only stuff yourself with delicious food, but also enjoy shopping. In addition to being the biggest tourist night market in central Taiwan, Fengjia Night Market is also home to many creative snacks, including Japanese octopus balls, dry-fried clams, cheese potatoes, grilled steaks, and bear paw-shaped hamburgers. You should do some research online before your visit to Fengjia Night Market so that you can try out all the signature snacks here. Since it's extremely difficult to park near the night market, it is highly recommended that you use a Taichung iBike. There is a bike rental station near the McDonald's on Fuxing Road.